me just quickly get you an update. The Lieutenant Governor of Delhi has just left the LNJP hospital after meeting the injured here. But news break coming in. One thing that has been established since yesterday, that this indeed had the footprint of terror tying in to the Jaish-e-Mohammed terror bust, a white-collar terror bust that had roped in Uttar Pradesh, Faridabad, and the national capital, and going all the way to Pulwama in Jammu and Kashmir. The car of terror, which in all probability a suicide attack has taken place, the I-20 car entered Delhi from the border of Badarpur at 8:04 a.m. on November 10th. The I-20 car travelled through several areas of Delhi and reached near the Red Fort. The blast case near the Red Fort. What we've also been given to understand that Delhi Police Commissioner Satish Golcha, the DG, NIA have arrived at Home Minister Amit Shah's residence for a meeting. This high-level meeting will be taking place at the Home Minister's residence at sharp 11. That meeting has started. But once again, viewers, what has changed over the course of the last 12 to 14 hours since yesterday? Number one thing that has now been established, which pointed towards a terror attack late last night, is now established, and it's completely tying in. The blast that took place outside gate number 1 metro station, Red Fort, adjacent to the Chandni Chowk market, is now tying completely into the Jaish-e-Mohammed terror module, which was busted yesterday, where ammunition, explosives of nearly 2,900 kilograms of ammonium nitrate, rifles, AK-57s, all of that was recovered, and that too from, one would be a little fair amount of shock where you look at the profiles of who it was recovered from doctors, viewers. So therefore, giving this entire terror module bust, the connotation of a white-collar terror module that was busted. The man in question, who was driving the I-20 laden with explosives that led to the blast outside gate number 1 metro station, Red Fort, Omar Mohammed, himself a doctor. His family says they're in shock. Omar Mohammed had never left Jammu and Kashmir, but strangely he found his way, indoctrinated, radicalized, all the way to the national capital. And what is in fact more shocking, it's not just one lone doctor, it's been multiple doctors who have been arrested and are now charged under UAPA, being questioned. So a larger thought for a moment on the radicalization of doctors here. I want to bring in my colleague Shreya Chatterjee, because the focus right now, Shreya, is on the vehicle that was carrying the explosives. In all probability, this is a suicide attack, a Fidaian attack. The driver, many now seem to suggest, you've been talking to your sources within the investigative agencies, that this was a lone attack. Omar Mohammed was driving the I-20, in all probability a suicide attack. The vehicle goes all the way back, traces itself to Faridabad, where it was challan for wrongful parking. Before that, changed hand multiple times, right from Salman, somebody who lives in Jammu and Kashmir, Pulwama, was sold to somebody called Amir. Amir sold it to Tariq. Tariq is now being questioned, and been arrested. And Tariq sold it or handed it over, it passed on to Omar Mohammed. What more can you add, Shreya? Because CCTV images now emerge to confirm that 8:04 a.m., this vehicle was spotted crossing the border inside Delhi at the Badarpur crossing.
Well, absolutely, Preeti. All the timelines that you're saying is exactly what matches with the investigation on the ground. Omar Mohammed, the one absconding in the Faridabad model, is told to be part of the Jaish-e-Mohammed Ansarul Ghazwali Hind. So that is the terror module that was busted by the Jammu and Kashmir police. However, one person was absconding. Remember, he was also a part of that same group studying at Al Falah University. What we are right now understanding is that this car actually traced from Faridabad, and as you rightly pointed it out, at early morning 8:41 a.m. it crossed from Badarpur. Subsequently, it toured the region. It reached Sunehri Masjid. Sunehri Masjid parking lot is where this car was there for more than 3 hours. At 6:40 plus is when the car exits from the Sunehri Masjid parking lot. Subsequently, at this very traffic junction at the Netaji Subhash Marg is where it stops somewhere around 6:52 p.m. It was a slow-moving vehicle, and it's then when it detonates. What we're right now being told, initially, traces of ammonium nitrate have been found. There are suggestions that probably this was a multi-chemical usage to actually lead to a very high intensity explosion. Use of any kind of inflammable gas, could be an LPG or CNG, along with ammonium nitrate to trigger it into an NFO is what it is being suggested on the ground. But FSL team right now looking at the cause of the explosion, to just give our viewers some picture on whether there has been similar incidents in the past. Remember in 2022 in Coimbatore, where there was a blast that took place, and initially the suggestion was that of an LPG cylinder. Later it turned out that it was ammonium nitrate which was used to trigger that particular blast. Why we are focusing on this? Because it does not look like an usual explosion from what the investigators at the ground found last night. There were no craters, there were no shrapnels, there were no wires that were found, which is a telltale sign of an RDX explosion. That is the reason it traces back to ammonium nitrate. Also remember, over 300 kgs of ammonium nitrate was also raided and recovered by the Jammu and Kashmir police and Faridabad police in that joint operation. But clearly a miss of an operation by a fluke that led to the death of 9 individuals. Right now, police team are raiding multiple locations, Delhi police, Faridabad police, just to ensure more members of the module are not part of it. But clearly there are sleeper cells that went active to actually ensure that procurement of these materials were passed on in hand.
You know, Shreya, with what you suggest, and I think that is what investigative agencies now will need to look at very closely. Are there more people out there? Are there more active sleeper cells that could be activated in the wake of what's just happened yesterday evening? That needs to be looked at. Something that Shreya also said, viewers, is that this was unusual in terms of what is the footprint or, the topography of a blast. There were no wires, there were no timers, there were no nails, there was no sharpener, something that has been corroborated by the doctors who've been treating the injured. There are no sharpener or nail injuries. Usually in a blast, what we've seen with various blasts, especially in the UPA years, there used to be sharpener injuries, embedded nails where the injured were concerned. So one thing is very clear, because the doctors seem to suggest that the nature of injuries is grave. 9 are dead, 3 or 4 of them grievously injured, and most of them have been injured even though they were about 50 to 100 meters away from the blast site. They've been injured because parts of cars that were blown up with the impact of the blast landed on them, and therefore even the doctors say that whatever it was, the impact was so intense that possibly nails, sharpener was not needed. So possibly the amount of that ammonium nitrate, the explosive, was so much that it did not warrant the need of sharpener and nails. And like Shreya was saying, another line being investigated, was it used by possibly an LPG cylinder, or what was else used with that? That's a matter of investigation. And Shreya would also point out that the Red Fort metro station right now shut. Right outside that, makeshift tents have been put in place by the NIA investigative agency. The smallest of evidence that has been found in terms of car parts that were blown up and strewn in terms of debris over 100 meters away from the blast site, all being picked up and analyzed. That's one part of the story.